All right, that's fucking annoying. Well, it worked for like 3 weeks.
Damn.
Whatever the fuck that means.
Well, I mean, we can just do audio. That's no biggie. I mean, it
Okay.
sucks, but like,
I mean, definitely. Yeah, let me just try to do.
but that
I
means I can do
will.
the whole thing naked. So that's cool.
Oh, I was already naked.
Nice.
Maybe that's why. Maybe it's automatically sensing my nudity.
Like, no, too much sexiness.
So hot. Can't help it.
I took a Lisa on your heart. I took a Lisa on your heart. Can I Lisa, Lisa bar? Can I Lisa, Lisa bar? Can I Lisa, Lisa bar?
Welcome back, everybody. We are right there featured. You are the audience, and together we're on a quest for Dynasty Domination. How's it going over there, Daniel?
It's going really well.
Mhm.
Doing pretty good. A little mildly frustrated. New
Yeah.
laptop, bad camera. This is my
Yep.
fault. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But it has
Nah.
reoccurred. But it's okay. We're getting into the round of 32 today, and I'm jacked, man. How are you doing, Christian? How's the new spot?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I moved in. As you can see, I've got a lot of decorations. Oh, wait, no, you can't see. We're not doing the video, but I don't have any. That was the joke. I have not yet unpacked anything, but I am set up. Walked around downtown Indianapolis today and was checking out what's near me. Pretty cool. Pretty excited about that. But yeah, if you're a usual YouTube watcher, there may not be video this week. I may still put the audio out and just with like our logo, just so that there's something on the YouTube page. But we are going to do an audio only today because of some technical difficulties. But other than that, I'm doing good, man. Um, sorry that you're dealing with that. That sucks, but we'll get it figured out.
Yeah, it's definitely annoying, but I think we can probably pull some stuff out to remedy the issue permanently.
Yeah, we'll get it done. But while we wait on that, I'm excited because we are getting into the round of 32 this week, and two of the most difficult brackets coming up with the West and Midwest. We're going to give you a double packed episode this week. So that is pretty fun stuff. And yeah, man, I gotta say, before we get into this, this was one of we've done this tournament for what, 5 years now, 5 years in a row.
Hmm. Yep.
And this might have been my most difficult round of 32 I've ever done. Like I felt like everybody should win.
Yeah, you're not alone there, man. I definitely was I mean, I'm still kind of waiting to see if we can agree on some of these because when it's a tough decision, then you sometimes you got to decide on the fly, and sometimes it's hard to agree on something when it's that kind of situation. But
Oh,
I
I'm
think
with
that's
you.
going to add even more to it. So,
I agree. Yeah. A few of these I still have a question mark on, so we're definitely going to be flying or learning on the fly, but we'll just crack into it and we can start over on the West Coast with our first matchup. This one I don't think was very hard for either of us with our number one seed running back Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State going up against the number eight seed wide receiver Tez Johnson out of Oregon. I think it's pretty clear that Johnson had no chance of beating Jeanty here.
yeah, I mean, honestly, Johnson kind of got lucky in the first round to even get
Hmm.
here. But I mean, it's not to say that he was overly horrible. I mean, finishing his college career with over 3,800 yards took
Yep.
him two schools in 5 years to get there. But I mean, he's a good little player, man. Did you like him? I know you liked him. I want to
Yeah,
hear about it.
I mean, I do like him. He obviously has a ridiculously major drawback to him being 154 pounds and what is it, 5'9" or 5'10"? Where'd he go here? Tez
He's
Johnson. Yeah,
5'10.
5'10", 154 pounds, and he's older, 23 years old. But they didn't stop him from being productive. And like he didn't his preposterous size disadvantage didn't hold him back too terribly much. I think it will at the NFL level, but it was cool to see him kind of come over that or get over that at the college level. According to PFF, he was in the 99th percentile for open target percentage, and he was in the
Whoa.
91st percentile for separation versus single coverage. So like he does some things right, you know, like you can see that all in the film. He consistently gets open, he's alone a lot. And that's because he's a great route runner and he's incredibly quick and he's got fluid movement, you know. He's been productive, 10 touchdowns in back-to-back years and over 800 yards in 3 straight seasons. Um, you know, he's definitely a slot guy. Spent 87% of his career in the slot. Um, and you would think with all that quickness and everything, you would think he makes more people miss. But he was tied for 18th in the 2025 class for missed tackles for force for wide receivers with 17. So definitely not bad, but not where you would think he would want to be. But I mean, he really does eat up the yak yardage. 71% of his yards this past season came on after the catch and 62% for his entire career. So, you know, like I said, he's obviously got a major flaw that's going to limit him in the NFL at the next level, especially when, you know, we're a fantasy podcast. He's just not going to be consistent enough to really rely on. And especially because like his lack of blocking skills, he doesn't really have great contested catch ability. And his limited physicality because of his size is going to limit him. But I do think he'll have some pop weeks and be a decent little player for an NFL roster. It's just that like I have no interest in him really in fantasy.
Yeah, and the style he played was interesting. Like I pulled out all the draft eligible guys over 50 targets and did a little
Mm.
comparison, and he had 11 yards per catch, which was 118th out of
Oof.
138 eligible players, which is, you know, that's bad. But if you look at his A dot, he had the third lowest A
Mm.
dot out of that same group. So getting shallow targets and trying to be that kind of possession receiver at that size isn't going to work in the NFL. But the reason he had success is he kind of moved like a running back once he had the ball in his hand in
Hmm.
space, kind of plants the feet, changed directions in kind of a freakish way, and he was bouncing off guys pretty squarely. But you know, like you're saying, there's too much. It's not really appealing as a fantasy prospect. It's the kind of thing you want to keep an eye on to see if, you know, if he can overcome that disadvantage, but I wouldn't anticipate him doing so.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean, he gets in the right scheme, the right offense. He can definitely do some stuff. He'll probably catch a few touchdowns, but he's not going to be a reliable enough target for you in fantasy drafts. You never know. Maybe he'll be the exception to the rule, but I doubt it. So our number one seed, Ashton Jeanty, moving on to the Sweet 16. And Tez Johnson, your tournament is over in the round of 32. Good job making it this far. Our next matchup, we've got our 5 seed, Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado, going up against our 4 seed, Elic Ayomanor, wide receiver out of Stanford. And this one was pretty tough for me, actually. And I have a question for you. Are we
Okay.
too high on Ayomanor?
Um, yeah, I
Okay.
think so. I mean, I like him.
Uh-huh.
But just just looking at the production
Mm,
and the competition and you know the he doesn't he's fun to watch and he's really awesome, but I think that he doesn't have a ton of versatility. He's good at a couple of things and like really good at them. But I don't know if he can fit like the demands of the NFL right out the gate. So I
mm,
do have some hesitations. I really like him. I think you like him, and he's the kind of guy that if he does get drafted or go to a nice landing spot, it will heat up on. Um, but I think that he is the kind of guy that could end up being a day 3 pick and not a favorable landing spot, and we kind of just have to to accept it. You know what I mean? Feels like one of those guys.
Yeah, I could see that. I think he's a fourth rounder, which, is beginning
It's
of
day
day
three,
three.
but yeah,
But
yeah.
third or
Well,
fourth, I could see him being a third. I don't know. Like I was
I
really in
hope
on him.
so.
Yeah. Um, I asked that question because he beat out Kyle Williams, a guy I know you like a lot, and now I'm seeing Kyle Williams stuff all over. People getting really hyped about him. I know Chris Sims has him as like his number two receiver for the whole class. So now it just made me go back and watch, and I think I'm fine with our decision there. I like Kyle Williams as potential, but I feel like he'll be drafted around the same time as Ayomanor. So we'll see. And
Yeah.
Ayomanor's young. He's only had 2 seasons in college, but they were both pretty productive, not overly so. I mean, 831 yards this past season, 1,022 in his first season, 6 touchdowns in each. So nothing crazy, but I think the reason I like him and the reason you probably like him, his play style is really fun. He has these nice, crispy routes with a lot of nuance to his game. He's got quick feet and good size. Unfortunately, with that size, though, I do think he gets thrown off by contact a lot. 12 drops and around a 50% contested catch rate. So not terrible, but I just think it kind of throws him off his game a little bit. And he doesn't do a lot after the catch, kind of like what you're saying. There's like some stuff he does great and some stuff he doesn't. Like only 244 yards this season, which was like 3.9 per after contact or after the catch, and only 4.5 per for his entire career. But I do think like because he's young, he's a guy that could start as a number two and maybe develop into a number one if he gets some stuff kind of adds some tools to his belt. Because I mean, like he does incredible things. Like you watch that TCU game and the comeback route along the sideline and catching it was glorious. And then I don't know if you watched the Syracuse game, but if you haven't, go check it out because he makes an absolutely filthy one-handed touchdown grab. It's only like 15 to 20 yards, but just one of those absurd catches that literally made me. I'm sitting alone in my room and I audibly went, "Oh!" You know, like so he's exciting to watch, but I kept struggling to really put him over Shedeur in at this point.
Yeah, that was kind of my thing. And I had this similar realization that, as good as this guy is, watching Shedeur, I was like, we can't eliminate him right now,
Yeah.
based off of what I've seen, some of the things that I may not have been, considering. Just wanted to hate on the Prime Junior, because I mean, it's fun. It's where
It's
it's at.
easy
But
and fun, low hanging fruit for sure.
absolutely. I did watch that Syracuse game. That was awesome. I really enjoyed the NC State
Hmm.
game
Yeah.
for Io Manor as well. And like you're saying, dude, like the fast, aggressive route running and kind of heads up play style, just adjusting well to the ball and tilts and leans to get additional space at the catch point. I think it's going to turn out to be something pretty awesome at the next level. I just wanted to see. I don't think he was given the opportunity to showcase other skill sets. He only had 3 catches on deep targets over 20 yards
Mm.
in 2024. So comparing that to some of these other guys we're looking at today, it just kind of made me not lower on him, but just it made me not confident that I could argue against Sanders at this matchup.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. I wanted to. I think I kind of penciled him in as making it to the Sweet 16, but then the more I looked at it and the more I watched of Sanders, um, I mean the evaluations for Sanders are all over the damn place, and I'm really intrigued to see where he's going to go. And he has his own issues, but he also has his own strengths. And I just think maybe we get out ahead of because I mean, throughout this tournament or this podcast, I feel like we fall in love with guys who don't really end up doing a lot, I mean, I still am holding out for hope for Roman Wilson, and that one's a bit different because of injuries, but there's been all kinds of guys we fell in love with, and I kind of just thought we already put Io Manor above a guy that maybe other people wouldn't, given the current I don't know, heat around Kyle Williams as a prospect. And I
Yeah.
just felt like doing it again would be crazy and not crazy, but I also just I couldn't do it. I
It's
as much
careless, man.
as much as I like Ayomanor as a player and I'm super intrigued to see where he goes and like hope he develops into what I think he can be. I just think for
Yeah.
now, we move on with Sanders and let Ayomanor end in the round of 32.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move.
Alrighty. Well, then our number five seed, Shedeur Sanders, makes it to the Sweet 16, and Io Manor, your tournament is over. Looking forward to seeing you going forward, however. Moving on, we've got our sixth seed running back out of Arizona State, Cam Skattebo, going up against the three seed, also out of Arizona, not Arizona State, that little rivalry down there, but University of Arizona, Tet McMillian, wide receiver. So this one was pretty tough is the wrong word, but I like Skattebo a lot. I don't think he beats McMillan. I guess I should make sure we're on the same page there before I go into anything.
This I think I mean we're gonna get into some crazy matchups in the Midwest, but I do think this is probably the toughest one I had.
Okay.
Um, just purely because like both these guys are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Skattebo is he's got like that overnight celebrity vibe going on right now.
Yeah.
It's hard to bet against him, but I did put McMillan as a winner on this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's tough. Skattebo, he's so fun. He's so fun to watch. I mean, basically check out film from any game and you'll see what we're talking about.
yeah, any game.
But specifically, Mississippi State, that showing was incredible. He amassed 262 yards. Um, but he just does things all the time. Like the Iowa State game, he had like a Beast Quake mini run where he broke four tackles. It was like a 40-yard run. He had three touchdowns in that game, two on the ground, one through the air. He was actually in the tournament. He's the running back that has the most receiving yards out of anybody. So he's like a true dual threat, and they just ran him into the ground. And he's the second in broken tackles or forced missed tackles for the tournament with 102. You have to wrap this guy up or he's gonna get away from you. Like he's either gonna get you with his deceptive kind of quickness and movement, or just straight his raw power. And I think his burst score, his burst, which was a score of 90 percentile, helps him kind of overcome his long speed issues because he can hit the hole faster and just eat up yardage. He's not going to outrun you in a race, and like the home run plays may not be there, but he excels in that short burst area.
Yeah, a couple of things I liked to tack on because there's so much to like about this guy. But I
Uh-huh.
mean, he really does run hard and plays tough. And I think the traits in his vision and his timing just help him get the job done consistently. But really, honestly, it's the way he just dodges guys. He just embarrasses guys.
Hmm.
You know, kind of like jumps, plants, and wiggles just to get out of the way. But then he preps for contact in a way where he gets small and then kind of launches into tacklers while keeping his feet moving. And it kind of just, I mean, I know you brought it up in the past, but you almost hear like the non-existent sound effects as he's kind of slicing through the defense. I mean, it all added up to, over 4 yards after contact per rush. And I don't know, it was incredible. I know you called out a game, the Ole Miss game, but I mean, it's his most recent game, that Texas game.
Hmm.
That was incredible. I mean, his team was down big time. I think it was like 28-3 at one point, and he kind of just put the entire team on his back and took them to overtime, and it was a really close game. He ended up doing 400 or 143 on the ground with two touchdowns and 99 receiving, and then threw a 42-yard touchdown. So all told, he accounted for 284 yards and three scores in that game, and he had an octopus. So It was like it was all him. And you watch that game and you're like, this is incredible. But then you watch any game from the whole season and it's what he's been doing the whole time. It just wasn't prime time like that game was. And it's just hard to bet against the guy. I'm really eager to discuss positional rankings with you as we
Yeah,
get through the tournament because I think the running back class is just tough to
it
it's
really
it's tough
is.
to put these guys head to head.
No, it really is. They just are all there's just so many of them that can be starters, and like Skattebo is a guy that like if he ends up on the right team, I'm gonna start eating him alive in drafts. Like if say the Niners who just traded Jordan Mason go out and get Skattebo, I'm gonna be all over that. Like if they use this third
Hmm.
round pick or a fourth round pick even on him, that's gonna be it's going to be incredible because just the way he plays the position and being in that running scheme, I'm just going to be super excited about it. There are a few like issues that you could bring up with him and kind of that they're not necessarily minor, but compared to other stuff, they're pretty minor. I mean, he had 10 fumbles in 3 seasons, which isn't great for a running back going forward.
Right.
And then his pass blocking grade, according to PFF, was only a 38 this past season, which I ragged all over somebody. I think it was Donovan Edwards for
Sure.
being a complete liability in the pass blocking game, and that was the exact same score that he got. So there's some small stuff with him, but as far as like being one of the best pure runners and like his production can't be ignored. He's definitely going to end up on an NFL roster and he's going to get some playing time that he's going to be fun. Long story short, he's going to be fun to watch. He's not as flashy as some of these other guys, but I just think consistent production speaks for itself.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's gonna be a landing spot type thing.
Yeah.
NFL teams aren't as easily swayed as the masses, but then like
Mhm.
sometimes they really are. So if
Yeah.
they're buying it, like we're buying it, if we end up getting like a second round draft capital or some crazy like that, then obviously, we're gonna be pouring a lot of gas on this fire.
Oh yeah, big time. But for now, we got Tet McMillan moving on to the Sweet 16, and Cam Skattebo, your tournament is over. But again, like this West and Midwest was so hard. So any of these guys potentially could have been in the Sweet 16. But it is Tet McMillan for now. Moving on. So our last matchup of the western portion of the bracket, we've got our 7 seed Jalen Royals going up against our 2 seed in Travis Hunter. And it just sucks because it's hard to keep pushing Travis Hunter when we have no idea even what position he's going to play. But I do think if you look at him as a pure receiver, I do think he wins here. How are you feeling?
I want to disagree, but I don't know if I can justify it.
Hmm.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm huge on Jalen Royals, big time. Um,
Yeah.
but the thing with Travis Hunter is, I mean, he proved it in the leap he made from 2023 to 2024 in the receiving game. So I'm prepared to let Royals take the L here. It's a tough one though.
It is tough. Yeah, Royals is definitely a draft crush for me as well, and I know you like him. Obviously, you just said it,
Yeah.
but it's tough when like you read things about Travis Hunter. Well, he had 1,200 yards and 15 touchdowns. That's a great season if you're not splitting time on defense. And then to find out that he wasn't even going to like offensive meetings because they wanted him to focus more on the defensive side of the ball in terms of meetings and stuff. So it's like if a team really wanted to take him as a receiver, say like one of the landing spots for him that keeps being talked about is New England. And I think New
Yeah.
England is one of the places that would use him more as a receiver and sprinkle him in on defense because they're kind of not set on defense, but they're more set than offense. And Drake May needs a number one guy. I mean, they brought in Stephon Diggs, but that's only a patch. So at that point, then he would be on the field a lot more, and it's hard to argue with what he did. But on the flip side, Jalen Royals is such a fun player. He just runs through contact and seems absolutely unfazed by it when he's running routes or when he is has the ball in his hands. He was tied with Tez Johnson for missed tackles force, which I found surprising. I would have pictured him with more. But he's versatile. He can line up wherever you want him to on the field. He does a lot. He's got a unique combination of like power and shake ability. And he was great on contested catches. 64% for his career, 25 to 39. So it's not like a small sample size. And he's been productive in 2 seasons. He was on his way to back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons before his injury, and he had 15 touchdowns in 2023. And just things like you watch the Boise State game and he has a 65-yard touchdown where he just runs through a defender and doesn't lose any speed. And then like a 75-yard touchdown where he beat a man in the slot, shook off an arm tackle, and then I talked about it where he juked the safety so hard it looked like safety was trying to pick up change off the field. So yeah, he's a fun player, and I will love to see where he goes.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where he ends up. 17 missed tackles forced, not bad for only 7 games, man. He's
I
doing all
guess
right.
that, yeah, I mean that's fair. With the context, it's not bad.
But you're right. I mean, the way he plays through contact is pretty awesome. I feel like he reminds me like a old timer, like he looks like a vet out on a college
Yeah.
field for a lot of reasons. Mostly it's just his style. He's efficient, and I don't know. I think that it can translate to the next level. It doesn't really matter what the defense is throwing out there. He's just kind of doing whatever he wants, and they're pretty helpless to stop it. But I don't know. It's like Mountain West all over the place. Um,
Yeah.
we got to step up the competition level to really know what these guys are capable of. Um, but I think that the per game stats for this last season are just out of control. He had that 7.9 yards after the catch per reception,
Mm.
which is pretty good. Um, I don't know. His game really changed over the past 2 years. In 2023, he only had 8.6% in the slot. And then last year he moved to 22%, and it really impacted his game. Like the target distribution went from heavy on the deep side, where he had, 12 touchdowns on 14 deep catches in 2023, to
Hmm.
more of a short side and more yards after the reception. It went from 1.9 to 7.7 in the short route, within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage statistics. So the fact that he was able to like showcase the deep catch ability and kind of the outside wide receiver skills in 2023 and then transition into more of a possession type guy and capitalize on that opportunity as well. Kind of showed me the diversity that makes me think he can kind of do anything. He's a well-rounded guy, and he's got a lot of hidden potential that I don't think is going to get unlocked until he gets out of Utah State and into the NFL.
Yeah, I'm with you. He has a lot to offer and could develop into a super interesting guy. So if he falls to the right team, the right coaching, I'm going to be super excited about it. But I just think for now, yeah, Travis
Yep.
Hunter is going to take
Fine.
it. So Travis Hunter, the 2 seed, moving on to the Sweet 16, and Jalen Royals, our 7 seed, sadly is done in the round of 32, which sets up a Western bracket Sweet 16 of Ashton Jeanty versus Shedeur Sanders and Tet McMillian versus Travis Hunter. Spicy. Moving on to the Midwest round of 32, and our first matchup is our 1 seed Luther Burden the third, wide receiver out of Missouri, going up against the 8 seed in Jayden Higgins, wide receiver out of Iowa State. And dude, this whole Midwest bracket was insanely tough for me. Starting off with this one, I this is a very close matchup to me, and I ended up just really going with my gut, and like my initial watching. Jayden Higgins is building draft hype like nobody else right now, and Burden seems to be slipping. And but on my initial watch, I loved Luther Burden's game, and I was pretty lukewarm on Higgins. So that's where I ended up going with was Luther Burden. Where'd you land on this one?
Yeah, I'm with you. I really like Luther Burden.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see when it comes down to it where he ends up getting drafted because obviously production wise it wasn't off the charts, but
Mm-mm.
when you watch the film, man, it was amazing. I thought there were some outstanding moments for Burden that just kind of put me over the top. This was a tough matchup, and I talked a little bit about that Skattebo McMillian, and that was hard for me because the position wasn't the same. Here in the Midwest, we have a lot of head-to-head on the position, um, and so that's kind of a different animal. I think I do give Burden the edge, though, so I'm with you.
Yeah, and it came down to some specific stats for me with these two guys. The open target percentage for Burden was 91st percentile, 91st percentile against the 56th percentile for Jayden Higgins. And that was kind of one of the biggest things is that the separation was completely different for these guys. Um, Higgins like crushed at athletically and obviously has the size advantage over Burden, but he doesn't separate as well. He's got the good contested catch skills, 41 of 85, which was a pretty good percentage. Um, but it also kind of reinforces that he doesn't separate well when he's having 85 contested catches throughout his career. And Burden was 48% at 22 of 46. So it wasn't like he was that far behind him. And yeah, like you mentioned it, Burden's production dipped, but he also saw 40 fewer targets this season. And I don't
Right.
know if that was to Missouri's just offense and the way they did everything or what, but he's just so quick and he has so much escapability to his game, almost too much sometimes. I think he kind of thinks he can get out of every situation and tries to do a lot and kind of screws himself sometimes. But yeah, I just think overall he's a player that I'm gonna like more. He's like a bigger Zay Flowers almost,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is good, like in terms of I mean, I love Zay Flowers for his just ability to move around the field and just stay away from everybody and get open all the time. And you're looking kind of at the same as Burden. Um, but to Higgins' credit, like if you watch the Arizona State game, he made these two like really, really clean routes and strong catches. One was like on an out and up. And he just kind of like not huge separation in either of these, but he just has the length in the body to box people out, and he just like caught this really, really nice pass on the outside, and then like one was like more of a soft out where he kind of like ran pretty slowly and then took off, and just like the ball was put where the defender couldn't get it, and he just like made a great hands catch on it. Um, and it's just like a foregone conclusion sometimes that he's going to end up with the ball with the length. Um, but you do like another comparison you can make between the two guys is like yards after the catch, which 61% of Burden's yards for his career came after the catch to only 44% for Higgins. So that's a pretty drastic jump. So yeah, it's just like I liked Burden more. I could see Higgins going somewhere and being really successful, but like if I have to pick a player, I'm gonna pick Burden the third.
Yeah, Burden backs it up pretty good. Higgins, I thought, had a really good presence on the field and good determination, especially at the catch point. I watched the Baylor game. There was a play where he slipped and then he got up and
Hmm.
still made the catch. There was a play where the ball was thrown to him and it was tipped at the line and he adjusted and still managed to pull in the pass. You look at a lot of plays like that and the concentration kind of makes up he uses the concentration to make up for a lack of separation and some of those other skills. And like you're saying, if you're not separating and you're not getting yards after the catch, then like what are we building this off of? You know, success is a good thing to have, but um, glaring strengths is another nice thing to have. And so Higgins is putting it together, but it on paper it's hard to argue for him, especially up against Burden, who's just killing it. So
Yeah. Okay, well, I thought that was going to be closer between us, but Luther
me
Burden the
too.
third moving on to the Sweet 16, and Jayden Higgins, your tournament is over, my friend. Good luck at the NFL draft, however. Now, this might have been, in my opinion, the hardest matchup coming up. We've got our 5 seed running back out of Ohio State, Quinshon Judkins going up against the 4 seed running back out of Iowa in Kaleb Johnson. Whoa, this one was so tough to me. Where did you fall on this one?
I went with Quinshon Judkins.
Okay, alrighty. Well, that is interesting. I think I ended up landing on Johnson, so we're
Okay.
gonna have to talk this one out. Why'd you go with Judkins?
Mostly off of the Old Miss film, honestly.
Okay.
I watched the Auburn game and the LSU game from last year, and he was just dominant. I like the way he runs with hesitation in his motion, and he's like visibly contemplating every move, and he is okay with taking 2 yards, but he moves through his runs in a way that allow him to capitalize on late developing opportunities. And there's a lot more that I liked about his game. But just watching him consistently process things in a way that just made it look like he was going to find the smallest hole or the biggest hole every single play. It just made me get pretty pumped about him. I definitely like Johnson as well. Don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
but you're looking at these guys. Um, and I don't know, the touchdown numbers are been consistent. The production has been consistent since day one with Judkins. And with Johnson, he comes in and has a killer year, and that's awesome. But the receiving work for Judkins also puts him over the top as well. So it's hard. Two good backs. I think we're looking at like these guys are probably 4 and 5, 3 and 4 in the
Hmm.
class. And for them to have to face off in the round of 32 is tough, but I think I can project pretty solid transition to the NFL for Judkins. I like him a lot. What's up with Johnson? Tell me.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. I mean, yeah, looking at Judkins, he took over 100 fewer carries transitioning from Ole Miss to Ohio State, but didn't miss a beat production wise. You got 3 straight seasons of over 1,000 yards and at least 14 touchdowns. And like his missed forced tackles were down, but his percentage wasn't really. Like it was in the low 20s for percent of attempts with a forced missed tackle, which it was in the high 20s for his 2 Ole Miss seasons, and he had 197 total for his career. So like that really didn't go down. He just didn't get the ball as much. And he obviously crushed it athletically at the combine. But
That
just
too.
man, Johnson, who he didn't show up as much at the combine, but like on tape, his speed is undeniable, and I think he has really good vision and patience. And I just think he's so smooth. He was had 6.4 yards per carry, which was sixth among our participants in the tournament, but he was also second in carries. So like uh, that is pretty crazy when you're looking at yards per carry, and then he had that many. Or sorry, he was seventh in carries, but regardless, really just a lot of production coming out of him. He was fourth in yards per contact after attempt, or yards, yeah, yards per contact, yards after contact per attempt. Jesus, I can never say that one right. I don't know what the deal is, but
Yeah, I struggle with the yards after the catch per reception like every time too, so I'm with you.
But Johnson, and yeah, you're right. He only had 1 year of like elite production, but he absolutely demolished it this year. 1,500 yards and 21 touchdowns. 1,060 of those yards were after contact, which again put him fourth in the tournament per attempt. He doesn't, you're right. He doesn't give you a lot in the receiver game. And if we did this tournament after the draft, which wouldn't be a March Madness bracket, so that'd be silly. But if we did it after the draft, it would really easily make my decision depending on where they landed because I think they're that close. But I just liked Johnson's tape more. And it was just maybe a play style thing. I just thought he was super smooth. He PFF compares him to Todd Gurley, which
Yeah.
I think does make some sense with his size and his like just smooth ability to run. Uh, and but I'm okay going with you on this one. Just because I did think it was like splitting hairs to me for these guys. I would be happy with either of them walking away in a rookie draft. And then again, depending on where the landing spot is, I would put one in front of the other. So like just to keep the episode rolling, I will just concede and just Judkins can move forward. But I absolutely adore Kaleb Johnson. I think he's going to be awesome, and I really hope he lands in a place that can take advantage of his skill set.
Nice, dude. I did not know the PFF draft guide had dropped, so
Oh,
I don't have the comps. I don't have the PFF knowledge in me today, but okay, thank you
yeah.
for doing that because I'll probably be wrong because Johnson, and he's awesome, dude. This guy, he's locked in with his power, forward motion only.
Hmm.
He really reminds me like a old school running back. And I don't know, man. I think he's going to start day one. Like, I think Judkins has the potential to start day one, but he also has a little bit of supplemental back to his game with huge upside, whereas Johnson is like a bell cow style setup. And, I think he does great work in open field. He breaks tackles and addressed pursuit angles in a disruptive way. And then, like you're saying, he only ran the 4.57, but
Hmm.
he shows amazing speed when running to the edge and like evasiveness in the open field. Like that's kind of his thing, right? Get past a
Yeah.
couple guys, break a few tackles, and then just run the edge in an angle that you can kind of skirt the deeper defenders. But I saw way too much inconsistency in the vision,
Okay.
especially behind the line of scrimmage. I didn't think he was very creative in kind of salvaging tougher plays, and that was really it was the processing in the first couple steps that made Judkins more appealing than Johnson to me. I
Okay.
said it last time I talked about Johnson. He's like, "This is the play it was called. This is the play I'm doing." He does mix in a few sweet cutbacks here and there, but for the most part, he's just like drop the hammer, hit the hole. Um, and I think that he's going to have a lot of success if he can find a nice run first type offense to be part of. But if he's kind of having to go to a place where he has disadvantage as a rusher that's doesn't have the O line or maybe not the OC to utilize him or enough of a passing game to balance the defense to not be stacked against him. I think he could run into a few issues, but really enjoyed him. Watched the Minnesota and the Washington games, and really
Hmm.
liked him because I couldn't decide on this, so I just kept watching film on these guys. But I kind of fell in on Judkins at the combine, just through the drills. I thought it was fluid and smooth and like casual, like in a a confident way that made me just kind of have an eye out for him. So I'm a big fan of his, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm with you. I kept just watching film. Yeah, I watched that Minnesota game too for Johnson recently. That was just a great watch. But I mean, yeah, Judkins has been awesome all year. And then, like, yeah, the combine. What did he get? He ended up with a like 90. What was it? Let me pull it up for you. I know this is great content. Listening to me look
Are
for
you talking
stuff.
about the Burst 94?
Yeah, 94th percentile and a 9.87 RAS score at the
Yeah,
combine, which is just absolutely absurd.
out of the
Um,
world.
Especially at 221 as well. Like just
That's it. I mean, that's the thing. Like these guys are pretty much exact same size, and he's shaving a tenth off the 40 and just kind of hitting it. And
yeah.
like it, the potential, man, and whatever. We'll talk about him, I guess, next. next time is Sweet 16. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we've got Quinshon Judkins moving on to the Sweet 16. Kaleb Johnson, you are done. Tough to get out of the Midwest bracket.
yikes.
So unfortunately, he's staying still. I sent you the PFF draft guide, by the way, so you can take a look at that.
Appreciate
While
it.
not right now. Well, I mean, you can right now. You can
You want me to
multitask,
do
I'm
it
sure.
live
Fuck it, we'll do it
on
live.
the fly?
Um, but we've got our penultimate matchup for the episode. The 6 seed TreVeyon Henderson, running back out of Ohio State, the other one, going up against the 3 seed Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. Another just really tough matchup here, in my opinion. And I love TreVeyon Henderson. But I went Warren here.
Yeah, I went Warren here too.
Okay.
Um, it's crazy because I feel like Henderson to me would have beat Caleb Johnson and Quinshon Judkins
Okay.
in a three-way match.
A triple
Kind of
threat.
a tough, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you, never mind. But yeah, you can't deny Warren. I mean, he was so natural in every single
Hmm.
way. And so, as much as I came into this trying to figure out how I could put Warren down in this one, I couldn't do it. So, I mean, Henderson's insane, though. I mean, I think
Yeah.
we all agree I mean, he's just got a powerful running style with the high knees, and he's got a great bounce out, a really nice method of getting outside quickly to beat like defenders as they close in. It's just kind of weird how quickly he reacts to the defense. His cutbacks towards the inside after he gets past the defense give him extra running lanes, so he's just kind of a really creative runner. Um, and I don't know. I think he's got a good drive up the middle, but he does tend to like to get outside. Um, and I don't know, the receiving game made me pretty happy. If you watch it, they were just kind of toying with people in the Ohio State offense having both of these running backs. There was a lot of like two running back sets where they were just doing cute shit that was 100% successful all the time. And it must have just been tormenting for defensive coordinators. But I think his best work was really what he did behind the line of scrimmage, though. You see him like squirrel out of tackles for a loss, and it's got a great mix of like pure go with hesitation, good evasive action, and it's almost like he's in slow mo. It's just out of this world. And then you look at where he ended up, right around 7 yards per carry
Mm.
this year, and that's insane. Like nobody's
Yeah.
doing 7 yards per carry. And what are we doing? And for him to essentially be producing at that high level, ending up with a career yards per carry at 6.4 on
Hmm.
590 carries, like that's next level, man. It's disgusting. And I mean, he had 850 receiving yards over 4 years.
Yep.
I just gotta give him so much praise. I don't want to put him up there, man. I don't want him to be up there. I like these other guys a lot. The Johnsons, the Judkins. I like those guys more. Like they get me amped a little more. But then Henderson is just undeniable. You can't argue with it. It's incredible. I don't know why he didn't come out last year. He could have just been mopping the floor, but
With
whatever.
that whole class. Yeah. No, I mean, you kind of nailed everything. I'll try to piggyback off some stuff. He's just so explosive and yeah, like creative and fun to watch. Like you said, he's also super feisty and competitive. I was watching that Penn State game and the Will Howard ran on like an option play and Henderson was out in front of him and got his hands on like a safety or a corner and just literally ran him to the ground and just like tackled him basically for the block. And he just
Wow.
does stuff like that all the time. Solid production for 4 straight years, and he was splitting time. I mean, he had no games over 100 yards this season and still ended up with 1,000 yards or right under 1,000 yards, 961, 10 touchdowns. But he had 42 touchdowns in his career in 4 years, and he never once went over 200 attempts for a season. So he's just he's just fun to watch and like really productive without having to be like necessarily the bell cow, which I do think he could be. I don't think it's that he can't. Like you talked about 850 receiving yards, so he can be a three down guy. And he's just got a lot to offer, and he's been in college for a while, but he's still only 22. So it's not like he's like topping out that age or whatever. And yeah, I like him a lot. The bounce, the explosion. We talked about the RAS for Judkins, but he had a 9.3 RAS, which is really good, and a burst score of the 91st percentile. So there's so much to like about him. And like, say our for the belt draft, even though I'm putting Warren over him, and I know it has a lot to do with like what I need on my team, but I would take Henderson before I would take Warren in the draft. But I just
1000%. Yeah.
but with Warren's positional advantage and just how great of a prospect he is, it was just hard to really convince myself to put Henderson over him.
Yeah, I mean that's well said. I mean, definitely he's getting drafted higher for sure in most all formats, but yeah,
Yeah.
Warren's a straight up Warren G, man. He's a G.
He is a badass. So the three seed Tyler Warren moving on to the Sweet 16 and TreVeyon Henderson. Man, that's sad. But this, like
Yeah,
I said, this Midwest
killing
bracket
me.
is so tough to get out of. It's just superstar after superstar, it seems like. And finally, our final matchup of the round of 32 for the left side of the bracket, we've got our 10 seed who upset Colston Loveland, which is probably one of our biggest upsets
Yeah,
ever, and probably people would come after us for it. But
bring it.
sit down, and stay in your chair. Jalen Noel, wide receiver out of Ohio or Iowa State, going up against the number two seed, Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State. This is an interesting matchup to me because it's like dangerous, explosive weapon versus solid, consistent producer. And like it was tough for me. I ended up going Egbuka here though.
Yeah, it was tough for me, but I ended up going Jalen Noel.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well,
And I can tell you why. I mean, if you want me to talk you into it, it's
go
to
for it.
me, okay, Ibuka is great, yes. But he didn't hit me with the polish and dominance that I saw out of Noel. And I think like these guys need to start working out at the combine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're not like top five in skill positions of the class, which he's not, he needs to be out there kind of showing us what he's got. I can't project off of 1 or 2 thousand yard seasons with a bunch of kind of garbage seasons mixed in there. Um, I know you get the Ohio State bump and people are excited about you, but you got to defend yourself against these guys. You're not an alpha, man. You're not Marvin Harrison Jr. Period. Like
Yeah.
run
Yeah.
some
I,
drills.
I mean, I'm with you. You probably should have ran the drills. I do think a lot of people saw what Marvin Harrison did and tried to take after it. But like you're saying, if you're not that top five guy, then that's not what you need to be doing. Um, Yeah, I mean, I'll try to compare the two. I mean, Noel only has the one great year of production. Abuka has 2,000 yard seasons on a better team against better competition. Noel gets separation because he's explosive, and Abuka does it by like kind of being a technician.
Mhm.
Um, Abuka is also better after the catch a little bit. I'm 5.8 per reception this season compared to 4.2 and 6.6 for his career against 5.6. But it really kind of showed up with um, missed forced tackles, with Noel only getting three this past season. Abuka had 10.
Right.
It was 30 to 21 for their careers advantage Abuka, but that's not as big of a gap. Also, Noel had 19 drops in his career compared to Abuka's 12. And then contested catches was also Abuka for their career, 54% against 51%. But all of those are pretty close. It's not like he's absolutely dominating him in anything. And then like you talked about, Noel comes out, goes to the combine, gets a 99th percentile burst score, gets a 9.7 RAS. Absolutely destroyed it. Had the highest broad jump of anybody. Ran a what was it? A 4.3,
4.39.
4.39, and an 11-inch broad jump and a 41.5-inch vert. So just like incredible um, athleticism out of Noel. He is smaller than Egbuka. Ibuka's 6'1", whereas Noel is 5'10", so it kind of pigeonholes him into certain roles. But I mean, I did like him a lot. So I mean, I can concede again if that's what we want to do. I do like Ibuka though. I think he is probably likely a two, uh, but like a high end two. Not necessarily maybe like a T Higgins, but like just the way he's able to get open and just be super consistent. And it's not like he did run the 40, I believe, what is his pro day and got like a 4.42. Obviously, we got to take those with a little bit of grain of salt and ended up with an RAS score of 9.7. So that's pretty interesting.
Comparable. Yeah.
So like,
Well, you want me to give him another look? I'll give him another look.
are you sure? Well, I mean, we don't have
Yeah.
to
No,
if
no,
you
no.
felt that strongly about it.
I mean,
I thought they were pretty
I went
close.
back and forth, and it really, honestly, I'll give it to Ibuka, and I'll give you some rundown on Noel, so we can
Okay.
talk shop, and you can pick it apart on me. But I mean, the quick in and out
hmm
routes and the shake techniques, it was crazy the way he was playing. I feel like both of these Iowa State guys are just like stealthy in their
Yeah.
styles.
hmm
Um, and it definitely worked for Noel. I think the fact that he was in the slot and over half of his yards were on deep targets, 600 yards on targets at 20 plus yards. It kind of just tells you everything you need to know about the guy. One play in particular stood out to me in the game against Iowa, where
Mm.
he went inside or he went outside on the defender who was covering him, and then cut back and went inside of the safety of the next defender, and then he got clear for a 75-yard touchdown, and he didn't ever really change his direction too much. He kind of just slightly turned in and out, but these guys were on their heels. They were falling over. There's nothing they could do, and it was kind of just how he played his game. He would do that, and then he would also make guys think he was going for a deep 40-yarder and then cut at 10 yards, turn, and then catch the ball with an incredible amount of space available because guys had to play him like a complete unknown because they didn't know if he was going deep or if he was going to cut one short. And the way he was just kind of toying with guys and making their shoes get tied together, I just got a little amped about him big time. So, I
I
mean,
mean,
it was really the deep work that got me going. Out of the slot, that's pretty cool.
yeah, no, man, honestly, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's send him.
What? Well, that's everything I was going to say about him in the suite. All right, all right.
Well,
I'll revamp. You got it. I'll watch all this film. I love this dude.
no, but like I'm with you. I thought they were really close. I put him above Colson Loveland last week.
Right.
And like you bring up that Iowa game, he really was just dusting folks that entire
Dude,
game.
that was nasty. I watched the
Um,
Ibuki versus Iowa game too, just and that was it. I was like, okay, whatever.
that's
It doesn't
fair.
matter. So
No, I mean, yeah, I'm with you. It's two different play styles, and obviously Noel has the much more exciting one.
yeah.
I'm worried about where he'll go and like what they'll try to do with him. But at the same time, like I think weirdly, not weirdly, I think Noel has a higher ceiling. Like his
Yeah, he
potential
does.
is crazier, whereas Ibuka kind of has a really good floor, I suppose, where I do think that he's just going to be a consistent producer for a team. But like if Noel ends up in the right team, I imagine him somewhere like I know they probably aren't going receiver, but like Kansas City would be really cool for Noel.
That would be
Um,
insane. That would
or
be like it would be over, man.
yeah, so like if he ends up somewhere like that, so honestly, like you did sell me. Let's just do it. I'm
Okay.
sorry for smashing your
No, you're
what you
good,
were gonna
dude.
say.
I'll watch this guy all day, man. He was amazing.
All right, well, fuck it. So the 10 seed Jalen Noel going on an upset special after Colson Loveland also upsetting
Oh
the two
shit.
seed Emeka Egbuka and making it to the
He's
Sweet
on a tear,
16.
dude.
That's amazing. So we have a Midwest Sweet 16 of Luther Burden III going up against Quinshon Judkins and Tyler Warren going up against Jalen Noel. That man, Midwest was so spicy and very hard to lock down. So join us next week when we go through the round of 32 for the Atlantic and the southern portion of the bracket. You got anything to add before we head out of here?
I full disclosure, you guys want to see how the sausage is made. Somewhere in there, I placed a Amazon order for a external camera for my laptop, so you guys can expect that to arrive by Saturday. 2-day shipping. You will be
Damn.
seeing these beautiful faces next week. Don't doubt. I know you're missing out. Couple episodes here and there, technical difficulties, but we'll be in the flesh, the virtual flesh here pretty quick.
Yes, we will. Well, no worries. We still love you. No issues on the technical issues, man. It happens. But until then, we've been Rough Draft Research. You've been the audience, and we'll see you next time.
Adios.
I took a lease out on